G'day ice cream lovers, my name's Steve Christensen, the ice cream bloke, self-appointed headmaster of Scoop School down here, the great state of Missouri. And welcome to this podcast, this episode, nice to have you here. Do want to thank our episode sponsor, which is Dippin' Flavors. Dippin' Flavors also based here in St. Louis, Missouri, but they ship all over the country. And they are basically a distributor of all of the different products, a specialty distributor to the ice cream business. Cups, cones, waffle cone mix, toppings, flavors, all sorts of things. They're also a great way or a great source of recipe information. If you're a customer of theirs, you get access to their recipe portal, which is really cool. Dippinflavors.com, D-I-P-P-I-N flavors.com. Thank you, Jimmy, Ryan, and all the crew down there for your episode sponsorship. Okay, so in this episode, I want to talk to you about winter hours. We're coming into the back end of the year here. And a lot of people are asking questions about what is a good way to trim back our hours. Now, we do have a video here on should I close for the winter. I'm going to link that down below so you can kind of help that make the decision. But if you know you're going to be open, but you want to make sure that you're not over capitalizing on your employees and your utility bills, here are some suggestions as to how to do that. Now, before you jump into that, you probably should make sure that you've got good recording of your hourly sales. So that's the kind of foundation or the precursor to actually doing this, is figuring out exactly when your busy nights are and when they're not. Now, if you've got a POS system, and most people are using a POS system, there is a principle at the end of the day where you close out the sales. It's called a Z-read. And that Z-read basically says, okay, we're done for the day, print out the report of all my sales, all my taxes, all my discounts, all of the different transactional information that you need for the transactions that day. Now, you can also get on that Z-read a report. You can pull this information out of the register as well, but I find it easier to actually pull a report, and part of the report should be your hourly sales. So you should be looking at the time that your store is currently open. So if you open at 11, close at 10, you should have a section on that Z-read, or you should be pulling this information out of your register as to your sales between 11 and 12, 12 and 1, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 and 5, 5 and 6, 6 and 7, 7 and 8, 8 and 9, 9 and 10. And have a good look at that data. I say data, you say data, before you start going crazy with trimming shifts and letting people know that they're not coming in. Because there is a balance between what you can do with a short amount of people or a limited amount of people working versus the customer being upset because they're waiting too long and basically they're dealing with inefficiency in the workplace. So you really do need to understand when your busy times are and how many people you're going to need on. So that's the first thing. Do some study and find out exactly when your busy times are and what your sales per hour are on different days during the week. Then you can make a determination as to how you pare down those shifts. And just before we jump into the actual days and hours, I do want to say that your employees can be challenged a little bit so far as working a little bit harder. Everyone knows Friday night, Saturday afternoon, everyone's really hustling there. So you should have an issue with employees not being able to work harder. So that being the case, again, there's this balance between a Wednesday night shift that you've always typically had 2 people on, or 3 people on, let's say, and you're paring it down to 2. Do you get to a point where those 2 people are becoming so frustrated because they're working a very, very hard shift, and perhaps customers are having mistakes made, or they're waiting too long? There's a point where you've got to think, hey, we're just paring down too much, we need to put that extra person on. So it's a good idea to talk to the employees and ask them how their shifts are going. Sure, they may say, well, we need another person, but you can kind of compare that employee feedback with your data that you're pulling from your POS system and kind of balance that out as to, do we really need help, or is there just kind of a half an hour or 45 minute a section there that we need help? So that's one thing. Secondly, you need to do some research as to what your state labor law allows you to do so far as the shortest shift that you can work someone, and whether you can split shifts. Because remember, the principle here is we're kind of paring down our employee hours and our opening hours. You need to make sure that you don't run foul of the law so far as what your state Labor Department says is a minimum shift, or the amount of time that you need to be working before you send somebody home, or whether someone can work a 6-hour shift but do it in 2-3 hour increments. Good to do some research there and have all of this information, your employees' opinions, your POS system data, and your labour laws or your legal requirements before you start slashing hours and days. Okay, so once you've got all of that, let's talk specifically about what are the typical busy days for ice cream. And in the ice cream industry, at least in the United States, was our experience in Australia as well, busiest days tend to be Sunday, then Saturday, then Friday, then Thursday, then Wednesday, then Tuesday, then Monday. So the idea then is that as the day gets shorter and the actual daylight is more minimized, you could shrink shifts on those days as well. So whereas you used to open at 11 o'clock in the morning and close at 10 o'clock at night for, let's say, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, why don't you shrink that to the point maybe where you're opening at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and you're bringing your close time down to maybe 9 o'clock. That's what a lot of businesses do. They'll still keep all of the days available, but they'll just pare down the hours. And again, that kind of pre and post lunch, you need to make the decision, based on the data that you're getting from your POS systems, whether your lunch crowd is enough to basically justify having someone in the shop. So you can pare down by an hour or 2 hours. What you can also do is actually just pare down the days. So if you know that the bulk of your sales anyway in the wintertime are coming from Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, then look at a model where you actually don't even open Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday. You can use that to actually build your catering business. You can fine-tune your business. You can look at a lot of these trends, look at your costs, a lot of things that you can do as a business owner from an admin side on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then when you train your customers to know that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday are the only days that you open during the wintertime, that allows you to be able to train them to know that that's when you're open. The challenge with just modifying hours is that customers get confused and a little concerned or upset because they thought you were open at a certain time and you weren't. They're pulling on the door, and it's never good to kind of have, I thought they were open on Yelp, but they're not. Blah, blah, blah. So anyway, pair hours, pair days, if that works for you. The idea is you're looking at when the bulk of your sales are, and then training the customers that used to come in on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to know that you're open Thursday through Sunday instead of coming through earlier in the week. Really important to be able to put the time and the effort into doing that. You don't want to overburden your employees just by trimming hours. You don't want to give your customers less than a great experience in the store when it comes to customer service. So make sure you find out the data and then act accordingly. Trim the hours or trim the days even if you want to continue to be open. Look, that's all we have for this episode. Thank you very much for the crew down there at Dippin' Flavors, again, for their sponsorship, dippinflavors.com. And if you have a quandary or a question about the ice cream business, drop us a line, steve@scoopschool.com. Keep on scooping. We'll see you in the next video.